It's another Tuesday afternoon, 17 minutes past 1300 hours GMT. This is the Executive Lounge with me, Inshira Ado. This is where we bring you the best minds, men and women who have blazed the trail in leadership and business and from all walks of life. My guest today, I don't know, I need to ask him, would he have, what would he have preferred doing? The man seemed to have just done banking all his life. He's currently the CEO of an investment bank called Data Bank. I'm sure you now know I'm talking about Kojo Adai-Mensah. Good afternoon, Kojo, and welcome to the Executive Lounge.
Good afternoon, Sharon. Thanks for having me.
You know, let's just set this record straight. This one is our claim to fame, whether it's by coincidence, because we didn't plan today's, right?
No.
So today is the very first day after the Executive Lounge had done one complete year on radio.
Okay.
You were the very first guest of the Executive Lounge on TV.
Yep.
At the time, we used to only do the show for 30 minutes, but it's now grown to an hour per episode.
Congratulations.
So we need to bring you back because there was stuff that we never got into.
True.
Hopefully, we can get some of them. But today, I want us to really focus our conversation on three areas.
Yep.
I know there's a fourth that you like, but I won't talk about that one. But leadership, innovation, and football.
Sure.
The other one starts with F, but we'll think. If there's time, we'll talk a little bit about Formula One.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. You know, but it's a pleasure to have you join me on the show. You know, the guru, if we could call him that, John C. Maxwell on leadership, written quite extensively on the matter, says that, you know, leadership is cause and everything else is effect. And essentially that whatever a company or a society or an organization's life would be, it starts and rests with leadership. Some people dispute that it shouldn't be about leadership at the top. I mean, to you, what is leadership?
That's a good one. But I think it's where you are able to use whatever position you find yourself in. And I'm not talking about you're at the top. Whatever position you find yourself in. So let's break it down from the cleaner right through to the very top. And you are able to use your position to influence for the good of what the objective of the firm or the group of people who are together is. That for me is clear leadership. It's not being the boss and giving out the instructions and no, that's not for me. So when you are in an organization, and I'll use an organization, you should be able to pick out leaders at every level of the corporate ladder. Among the cleaners, there's a leader there. Among the entry staff, there's a leader there. Among the middle managers, there's a leader there. And at the top even, there are leaders amongst us, but it's like a prime minister kind of thing where you will be the leader amongst your leaders. But at every level of the corporate ladder, you should be able to identify leaders.
You know, it's quite interesting. If you operationalize leadership, which we tend to philosophize and just go back to the classical definition or the hierarchical stuff that, you know, founded business structure as we know it, people would occupy certain positions, they'll have a certain remit, and that determined where they sat in the, you know, proverbial food chain. Now, new world, and we seem to feel that, okay, so it's not about position, but it's also about your capabilities. Today, as you say, for example, there's someone who works in the department that cleans the company. Now, the fact that you're a CEO may not necessarily mean that you understand the space better than them. So they have leadership. So it's no longer positional, but it's more functional.
Sure.
Do you think our society is ripe to accept functional leadership over positional leadership to the point where people feel empowered?
Unfortunately, we are not yet there. There are some companies that are actually there. I would like to believe that our firm is maybe gravitating towards it. But traditionally, we are mainly still in that let me say, old school mode where it's positional, and you find it all over the place, especially with the famous words of most Ghanaians. Do you know who I am? You get me? It that's where it comes out. Do you know who I am? Who do you think you are? And they try and boss their position over people. Meanwhile, functionally, you probably are not. You are not there. You can't do much. And you know, if you're a leader and you go down that route, you are most likely to fail because, like, we'll still use the cleanest example. You do not know the chemicals they use, the effect of it, and they can. Let me use the Ghanaian word. They can do you in using their role that you have, you know, just denigrated to the background as if it's nothing. And for me, it's a big issue. We are not there at all, and it's time we started moving away from titles and thinking that the title is the powerful thing. It is not. It is what you're capable of doing. It's how you're capable of influencing for the good, not for the bad, of what it is that the vision and the mission and the objectives of the firm are. It's very, very crucial. But we adore titles, and then we just want to boss over people using our titles when probably we have no leadership qualities.
We'll explore that in a moment. But how do your colleagues call you at work?
Kojo.
Really?
Yeah.
So there are other organizations where even your name wouldn't be mentioned. There's
No.
MD or CEO
No. I even don't. I usually don't even sign as CEO. I just sign as chief servant. That's how I prefer to sign. But sometimes, you know, my branding people will say, no, this one, you can't use the chief servant under these circumstances. But because I think as leaders, you are there to serve people. You are there to guide people. You are there to, you know, encourage people, motivate people. You are not there to crack a whip. Yeah, when you need to crack the whip, you are. But it's not like you are going into a lift and nobody else can enter the lift with you and that kind of thing. No. So everybody calls me Kojo. Nobody calls me MD or CEO. Maybe behind my back they are calling me some name that I'm not sure.
I hope they're nice names, you know. But
maybe behind my back I'm being called something I don't know.
Let's do a walk through your career and kind of tease out what leadership qualities that has helped you develop. You started out at Standard Chartered Bank? No. Was it Barclays?
Nope. I started out at Data Bank.
Oh, yes. How did I forget that?
Yes, I started out at Data Bank. My first...
Was it as an intern or...
No, it was a first real job.
Okay.
I had finished masters. I had no working experience, zero. And I just finished my masters. Hardly would you get anybody taking a chance on you without working experience and getting that high up in the academic ladder. But Ken and Kelly took a chance and said, look, we'll give you a chance, you can join us. So that's where I actually started, and I did 2 years there. Unfortunately or fortunately, I married, and then I couldn't pay my bills, and so I started saying, look, I need to look somewhere else. But in fact, more importantly, the stock exchange started very vibrantly when I had joined, but at some point it had gone down, and I was in corporate finance, and the jobs were not coming as regularly. So getting paid for doing nothing was not really cool with me, and I started looking out. That's when I joined Standard Chartered.
Okay. So I mean, it's a very intriguing first job to have, of course, because that would have started the molding process of the kind of leadership that you would subscribe to. I've had a chance of interacting with Kelly and a little bit with Ken, but more with Kelly. Kelly balances a lot of passion and almost to a point where he kind of doesn't take himself seriously, but he's driven to get things done. How much of an influence do you think that has had on your own development? You know,
I can't pinpoint just one or two people. It's not it. My development, I must say, maybe the one who has had the most influence on my development is my mom, to be honest with you. Because growing up at age 10, that was when Rollins had his school, and my dad was a politician at that time. So he had to escape out of the country. And I was growing up with a woman who had to bring up 4 kids single-handedly. and the tenacity that she showed, the determination that she showed, the zeal, the honesty. I think that had the biggest influence on me. Of course, then other people have come my way. So many other people. Ken has come through, Kelly has come through, Paul Sanya has come through, Amish has come through, Ebenezer Isoka has come through. A lot of people have come through. So I wouldn't say it's only that one aspect. It has influenced me, yes, but I think I will give more credit to my mom than anybody else, because she showed me what determination and tenacity and wit it can do. And I always, my colleagues ask me how I'm able to read people and able to pick out character by just interacting. I think I picked it from my mom, because she'll just out of nowhere in 10 minutes tell you, Kojo, this guy who is supposedly your friend, I'm not sure, but this guy who is supposedly your friend, I think. And she'll turn out to be right. And I started picking up some of those things.
Wow, that's interesting. So essentially the foundation, but help me get this. Do you think that could be a rule of thumb, that people form their abilities and character even before they walk into the work environment?
Yes, I'm telling you. And most of it is at home and among peers than anywhere else. And once they walk into the work environment and they become successful, and let's say they are financially getting better and better, the true character starts amplifying. People don't change. That I don't believe people change that by that time. But the true character of people comes out when they are given positions of authority and responsibility. That's when you see true character. But it's formed more from home, I think, and among peers at school, just before you get into the real work environment. Some may change a bit, but you would have been formed.
Wow. It's 13:29. This is the Executive Lounge on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Inshira Ado, and my guest is Kojo Adai-Mensah, CEO, or rather the Chief Servant of Data Bank.
Thank you very much.
And we're having a conversation along the themes of leadership and innovation, and we're going to throw in a dose of football and Formula One, and still really trying to look at innovation and through your two pastimes. Now, you've talked about how people form their character from home and the peers that they interact with. Does that mean that if someone may be talented but not, for the lack of a better expression, well socialized because of where they came from and the people they hang out with, they may, how do you turn someone like that into a gem of a leader? Someone who may be a bit of a renegade, but they're good at what they do and they're a bit of a problem child. Like a Wayne Rooney.
Or an Eric Cantona or something like that. You see, nobody is useless, so to speak. I think everybody has something in them that is useful, and if you are the one supposedly coaching the person, and especially this goes to parents, we always want to see our kids getting straight A's, and as for you, what kind of child are you? There's nothing good about you. It's wrong. You need to rather re-emphasize the positives of the person. So rather than concentrate on the negatives of the person, you can convert that energy or the few positives the person has and amplify that more. So instead of focusing on, say you use Rooney, so instead of focusing on Rooney's, in quotes, bad boy behavior, you focus on his football talent. And I'm sure Ferguson used to remind him over and over again what a great footballer he is, and not remind him over and over again what a rogue kind of person he was. And everywhere you are, and no matter which society you find yourself, you get people like that. Even at the office, you get people like that. And instead of saying, as for you, I don't even know how you came into this firm and who even brought you here, is it that you had some good? The person has something good that the person can use to contribute to the growth of the company. And it's up to you to identify that and develop that and reinforce that positive. It's not good reinforcing negatives. That gives fixed mindset behavior.
Right. Now, in that light, of course, through your journey, where have you seen leaders totally fail to transform people? I believe in my and what are some of the things that they could have done better? Because in my opinion, I think that really a leader, it's like a parent. That and a parent's biggest joy is when they raise a child and they become better than they were day in after day, and even better than they were. And so that really should be what a leader should be doing.
I don't think I can give specifics, okay? I can't give specifics, but in my career, in one of the banks that I worked for, audit became such a huge, big issue, where instead of audit being used to improve, audit was being used to chastise and to punish. And that didn't develop us as potential leaders. I think during that period, if you were not strong by yourself, you would be easily broken by the kinds of reports and the kinds of sort of investigations that go around. And the whole purpose was for them to find out something wrong, not to find out, okay, as this business, where lies our weaknesses? Where are the risks? How do we mitigate it? How do we manage it? Risk can never go away in any business. Risk is there to manage. It is not there to punish. But in my career, I've seen situations like that where the audit function, instead of being an enabler and a manager and helping, was rather being used to whip, to punish, to get people sacked and all. And so I will not use individual examples, but I think this situation is a typical one. And yes, you do find individuals who are just out there to break people. And if you are listening to me and you have a manager or a supervisor who is like that, do not be broken. Do not break your resolve, because you should not walk away from human beings. It will not last. People walk away from human beings. They don't walk away from jobs. But do not walk away from a human being. If you are walking away from a job, it should be because you are walking away from a job.
You're not because someone is being your nemesis.
No, you shouldn't do that.
All right. Well, that's sound advice. So let's go into innovation. It's like the biggest buzzword since .com.
Yeah.
You hear, innovate or die, and if you're not innovating, then someone will eat your lunch and all that.
Yeah.
How important has innovation been? And if you look right across, and I think I would want to pin you down with the re-emergence of Ghana Commercial Bank. I think you served as COO.
Yeah, I did.
At Ghana Commercial Bank.
Yes, I did.
What do you think accounted for that? I don't know whether it's a coincidence, but the meeting of Kojo Diamond's arrival and the rebirth of a new Ghana Commercial Bank.
I won't take full credit. Look, we had a great team back then. Simon, me, John, Doris. We had George. We had a very good team, but we knew that we were at the time a sleeping giant, and thankfully, most of us had come from Barclays or Standard Chartered, where we had been exposed quite to some of these new technologies. And I'll just make I'll give a simple illustration of what happens, of what happened. When we walked, or when at least I walked into GCB, we had 17 ATM machines, out of which probably only 6 were working, or some statistic like that. Wow. And we had 158 branches. So we sat down and I said, look, we need to get people convenience. This thing about our banking halls being choked, and when you go to GCB, you spend 2 hours. And we use data. So we analyze.
If it was a rumor, then it worked on me. Because if I got ever giving a check that I needed to go, I'm like, what, just make it a pay. I'll put it in my account and
let it go, to clear. I know. So we did an analysis and realized that, look, the average withdrawal across the country was less than 500 CDs. So we said, look here, why can't we deploy technology to do this? Simon was big on technology. Oh no, as for our customers, they don't understand ATM, they don't understand technology, we can't do that. We are, our client base, they were born in the 50s and 40s, etc. Using my dad as an example, your dad, he's always writing check. And I said, look, do our clients have phone numbers? Everybody said yes. Do they remember the numbers? They said yes. And I said, then they will remember their ATM
Which
code.
is only a 4-digit
That is all it is. And that got us to roll out the ATM agenda. And that is one of the and at that time, ATM, Barclays were deploying check deposit ATMs already. And this was in 2011, 2012. So that worked very well. And, the reason maybe it's becoming a buzzword is you always, we the bankers, we always think for the customers. We rather think that the customer wants this or that. We are not listening to what the customer rather wants. And we think, oh, they don't want an ATM. They can't use an ATM. Today, you go around GCB. I was in Tamale last week. The queue at the ATM is longer than the queue inside.
In the bank.
Yeah. Bolga, it was the same. It was amazing.
Wow.
So deploying technology and giving clients convenience, it's extremely important. You know why the technology is becoming more and more important? And it's not about innovate or dial. Take Accra in the 70s. Say, you could drive from Legon, where we were living, to Accra Central in 10 minutes at peak time, at 8 o'clock. You could do that. Yeah. So it was very easy for you to just go and come and do your business transaction. Today, how can you spend 2 hours just trying to go and do a transaction at a location? It doesn't even have to be a bank.
Yeah.
So if you want your business to continue thriving, that's why they will say innovate or die, because nobody is going to spend 2 hours to come and access your product, no matter how good or important that product is. Yeah. You've got to push it to them. Today, I have read that in Europe, robots are delivering pizza. Nobody wants to even go and stand in a pizza shop when it used to be the in thing that you've gone into the pizza shop and then now robots are delivering. And so if you don't go down that path and you have a service, so if you're a pizza company as an example and you want people to walk to your shop and you are staying and waiting for people to walk to your shop to come and buy, well, your competitor is sending the thing to the client without even using humans. So there's the cost to serve is even going down and down. And it's so important in all aspects of life. I mean, I have to bring sports into this. Sports has improved because of technology. And I am pro VAR for soccer. I am.
Oh, you are? Yeah, pro VAR.
The VAR for soccer, because I've seen what technology did to cricket. Do you know, before technology was deployed in cricket, the Queen of England protested that they will spoil the game of cricket if they bring technology. The excitement will go away. The controversy about whether it's an LBW or it's a wide ball or all those things will go away. But hey, look at what technology has done to cricket. Even today, we want to see if the ball just tipped the bat and you see the
ripples on
it's exciting. Hawkeye has solved a lot of controversy in tennis. American football technology has resolved so many things that used to go on. It has even made the sport safer, because all those illegal tackles that the players used to do, now the camera will catch you. So it has improved it. Why should we have people scoring goals by using
the hand of God?
I love the hand of God, though. So it is so important. I mean, it's with us. We can't move away from it, to the extent that even now professions are incorporating technology and innovation digitalization, all those things into their curriculum. And because they know that without it, you can't survive the modern world. So curriculum, you can't now leave school before you're coming to learn technology, which is what has
back
happened
then,
to us.
When you finished A level, you had to then go to computer school.
Yes, exactly. That's what happened to us. We had to finish school before we started learning technology. But who would have thought that today 80-year-olds are using WhatsApp, they're on Facebook? Who would have thought?
Some are coding.
Some are coding, exactly. So it is now like learning English language. The technology and innovation and digitization and all that is just part of our life in enabling us, produce whatever it is we produce.
Right. So it's 42 minutes past 1, and this is the Executive Lounge. It's the Tuesday, 12th of February edition. My guest is CEO of Data Bank, Kojo Diamonds, and we're live on our Facebook platform. It's Joy FM, Joy 99.7 FM on Facebook. So you can tune in via the Facebook platform, and you can also interact with us by sending us tweets to @Joy997FM, or just mention @GH Rainmaker, hashtag Executive Lounge in your messages, and we will have your questions fielded. So you brought in sports. We're going to jump into sports, but before then, I wanted to. You said something quite profound about the fact that it was default for bankers to think what the customers did not want or could not have, but you flipped it and decided that you were going to now first look at data. So you started analyzing data, and then you spoke to customers and say, so what would you like? How much of the data analysis you think would shape the way business is done tomorrow?
Look, we have to use data. And I had a meeting. It's amazing you bring this up. I had a meeting last week with a data analytics guy who came from the US, did some work with Liberty Mutual, and was trying to, understand how we can go about it here. And we need to start. We normally take decisions by saying, I feel, I think. We need to start taking decisions using what data is telling us. Yes, I know in Ghana, everybody says our data is bad, but we need to start from somewhere. Because today, to be honest with you, in the last at least 5 years, the data almost every company is collecting is not that bad. Fields are being made mandatory. So you have name, you have date of birth, you have phone number, you have address, and now there's digital address. So the data is getting better and better and better. We are still thinking that, that the systems maybe Data Bank used to use in 1990, it was free text. It could just take anything, even a dot in your name, it will take it. Today, the kind of systems we have, it will not accept that. So we gather data and we start with whatever little data we have and take decisions using that. It helps. And I must, on this platform, actually acknowledge that I think SNIT is doing a fantastic job. I must say, I have had reason to, just interact with them to some extent. Since they went biometric, the data in there is something that can be used properly as a country to look at our demographics, look at what is happening to our society, and use it to take decisions for the good of the country. We shouldn't be saying, oh, in Ghana we don't have data. Oh, in Ghana we do have the data. It's just starting from somewhere and then going in a certain direction and making it, good for our country. We should stop taking decisions based on gut feel and somebody said and somebody said.
So still along the lines of data, let's now dive straight into football. And I like, until the Arsenal faithful started getting very upset with Arsene Wenger. He was one who was said to have taken his time to pretty much learn the I think it was a Castrol database for football stats. And before he would make a certain decision on a player, he would have gone through these stats over and over again.
Actually, I know you're an Arsenal fan, but
I don't want to admit it, but it's okay.
Arsene Wenger revolutionized football in England.
Wow.
When he walked into Arsenal, he used the data you're talking about. He started collecting data on all his players. He changed diet. He changed sleeping habits. And Thierry Henry would tell... No, not Thierry Henry. Ian Wright. Ian Wright will tell you that they hated it. In the first year, I mean, no pizza, no this, only cucumber. They could go and just chew cucumber for a meal.
Wow.
He said they hated it, but just after one season, they started noticing the benefit it was bringing to them and how it was potentially going to make them champions. So he did use data, and today Opta has taken it to a different level.
Oh yeah. Opta's analytics is scary.
And when we are watching the game with our naked eye and there's a substitution, we are upset.
Now why?
But why?
And then when Opta tells you the guy has run only 1 kilometer in 60 minutes, and you're thinking, oh, so
exactly.
Exactly.
But you're watching with your naked eye, especially when you're at the stadium. You have no clue. But if they are training these days, if you watch the clips of the training, you see that they wear this black sling.
Yeah, with the monitors.
It all has monitors built into it. It's checking your heart rate. It's checking your how you're taking free kicks. It's checking what you can do with the ball. So many things. So there's so much data now around the game. It's incredible, and that's why I'm surprised some people are even objecting to VAR, because I mean, goal line technology came. We are using technology for the game, so why can't we just use it end to end? But it saddens me, because look at the level at which they are.
Yeah,
we can't even have pitches here. That's it saddens me, Isha. How many even fields in even Accra can you play football on at night? We are
very, very few.
I mean, it's I don't have the adjectives to describe it, but it saddens me the extent to which our football is failing to catch up. You know, even in other aspects of the economy, you can say, oh, okay, at least roads, we can try and catch up somewhere. Cars, we can, your console here may be standard to any world-class console. You come, products that are being offered in the financial services sector, you can find them somewhere in the world. When it comes to football, we are like a century behind, and we all love to watch the EPL. But at some point, they took a decision that we will make this brand world class.
Yeah.
The whole world follows the EPL today, and it is even rubbing off on the Spanish La Liga, on the Bundesliga, and all the other
because
leagues.
there's a blueprint that they can
follow. Exactly.
And recently I was going through some very interesting trivia, and I saw some statistics about what the EPL was valued at, and I'm going to search for that thing and share it with you. It was mind-blowing because it created more than like 20,000 jobs and players. This was the thing. Tax revenue from football players was in the region of over £1 billion.
Yes.
And so a lot of money is being made in that space.
Yes.
Now, if I take you into my imaginary presidential palace, and I am consulting you as a man I want to help me, leave a football legacy, where would you say would be the first 3 things I should focus on to start looking at as a point to make change?
First of all, you have to hire the right people around you.
Okay.
You've got to hire the right people around you who will not be afraid to be transparent and speak truth to your face. If you don't do that, I mean, whatever it is you're going to do is not going to happen. So that's number 1, the kind of people you are. And like you said, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. The blueprint is there. But then all we need to do is commit the funds to it and execute. But if in that process you get people who are not going to do it for the good of the country, and it's just corruption and selfishness and arrogance, and then it's not going to happen. In fact, your number one thing will be the people you surround yourself with, irrespective of what budget you have, irrespective of what plans you have. Whatever it is you're doing, if you don't have the right people around you, it's just not gonna work. But yes, you've got to do that. You've got to develop the infrastructure, and then you bring in TV.
How much of actually, it's interesting you said this, but for TV may have been a big deal for English football.
Yes, it is the deal. It is the deal. For
English
but
football. Would you say it's the same for maybe Italian football or German Bundesliga, is it as consumed as, but then again, is it as consumed as?
It is within their own space.
Okay.
It is. And even South African football, you'll be surprised at how much it is consumed. You may not see the kinds of crowds you see in Europe in the South African games, but it is
unless
consumed.
it's a Soweto derby.
Unless it's a Soweto. But these days, it's not just the Soweto derby, because the likes of SuperSport, the likes of Mamelodi Sundowns, they came through and they are there. Kaizer Chiefs is like third or fourth in the league. So the Soweto derby is not now like as influential alone as it used to be. The other teams have come through. So TV is a big deal. And if we don't go down, and then the thing is there, it's been shown. Sky Sports, Sky. Now, the Premiership don't need Sky Sports. They are exclusive sponsorship. And it's, look, what's the TV rights in England now? It's over £3 billion, I think,
actually,
or something like
TV at my last count, it was more than 6 billion.
Yeah.
This was in 2015.
Yeah, it's billions
over
of
6
pounds.
billion,
Yes.
and it's just growing.
Yes.
You know, and then they're constantly finding new ways to also what do you call it? So now, hitherto they only had the sponsors' details on the front. Now we have on the left sleeve.
The sponsor thing is a totally. Do you know there are sponsor shirts for training alone?
Wow.
There are sponsor shirts for traveling. Then the game. Then you know which sponsors are behind you when
you're
having
sitting,
your interview.
interviews and all of that.
It's a different ball game.
So they've created
and
layers.
the billboards at the stadium, you can see Visit
which itself
Rwanda.
are digital. I learned recently.
Yeah, they're all
that,
digital.
So that you can buy adverts specifically for geography.
Yeah.
So there was a time where a Ghanaian company, we found their stuff on there, watching it from here, but really that's not what people who were in other markets were seeing.
Yes.
Talk about deploying technology. You see, we only have 7 more minutes to go. Let's jump into Formula One. Formula One itself has seen a lot of improvement by way of technology and stuff.
And safety, yeah.
Yes, I used to watch it when I was in the UK. It was on pretty much on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So when you're having a lie-in, it was the thing to watch.
Yeah.
Before the second division games, the championship
games
games
will
of
come
the
up.
day.
Yeah, sure.
And it was like, okay, a good thing to do. So,
reminiscing
but I
now.
never really followed it much until quite recently. Why are you passionate about Formula One?
It's interesting. I never used to also watch it till maybe around 2000. My brother, Nana was so into it. I was wondering, what is this? But I sat through with him, and you know what fascinated me about it and what got me following it? The pit stop. And in my banking life, I did operations mostly.
Okay.
My forte is operations. Now at that pit stop are like 12 people working simultaneously, coordinating simultaneously, flawlessly. You cannot afford to make one error, and that's operations for you right there. In less than 3 seconds,
They've changed
you've got
four
to change
tires,
tires.
refuel.
You have to refuel. Today is not even as like Schumacher's days, because now they don't allow you to easily refill. The fuel rules have changed. But with Schumacher's days, they start on some very low fuel. They give you a certain amount of fuel. You change the tires. You clean the visor. You clear the engine with the suit, and then they are gone. One false move, and the race is lost. And it just fascinated me, and the operations, the thinking. Then you go onto the console, you look at the analysis going on. They are using data. They are watching the tire temperature. They are looking at what the weather is going to be, the track temperature, its impact, what tire to use when. I mean, it's like you're doing operations for a bank. At the end of the day, all ledgers have to move. One false mistake, somebody's money will go to somebody else's account. and it just got me into excellence mode and accuracy mode, and I think that's what it was.
That's
but
what
now
it is for you.
I actually travel to go and watch it. It's crazy.
Which team? Who's your favorite?
Mercedes. I'm a Mercedes guy.
Yeah, Mercedes guy,
Since
yeah.
my grandfather was a Mercedes guy, and I've been a Mercedes guy.
What? So before Hamilton, who was your favorite?
Oh, to be honest, before Hamilton, I was not a Mercedes. I was following Schumacher, but not when he was in Ferrari.
Okay.
So I followed Schumacher a bit, but then he came to Ferrari and he
And
was
you're like,
blowing.
okay,
He
can go.
was blowing everybody away. I didn't really have a favorite maybe before Hamilton took over by storm, but. Yeah, he's a very aggressive
Yeah,
guy.
I think it's very
Every
good.
now and then I'll just maybe Alonso too came along. You know, he wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Kojo, we have very little time left. I'd like to say a big thank you.
I am very honored.
for
It was too
joining.
short though.
Yeah, it was. But here's what I can promise you. We're filming season 6 of the TV version. I think you need to make a comeback and let's have another
Just give me enough
conversation.
notice.
Oh, you know that one. Yeah, I will do my very best. So today I'm not going to tell you my 5 lessons, or should I? Okay, so number 1 is that you must respect people. Leadership is not about position. It's about what you're doing, and respect everyone. Number 2, you should also work with people in teams. Everybody has a role to play. Number 3 is that when teams work, you must leave very little room for mistakes. Cover each other up, and then you'll do a good job. Number 4 is passion. Find things that inspire you. And finally, I think you should not think of yourself too highly. You call yourself the chief servant, which is pretty cool. I'm going to leave you with a song that I think you would like. I'm not telling you what it is, but once it starts, I've never done this, but maybe you should dedicate this song.
Yeah, we'll dedicate it to the union.
Thank you very much, Kojo. Up next is the news at 2. Mamavi is in the studio, and then you'll have drive time come your way after the news. Stay tuned. This is Joy 99.7 FM. I'm out.